Coach, we had a week off last week. Had some other teams in the region had some ball games Friday night. We're looking forward to Manchester Saturday.
Yeah, Manchester. This is something that we put together a year ago. Us playing at Mercer, kind of a doubleheader. Starting the evening off with us versus Manchester up at Mercer. They're a AA school. They've had a lot of rich tradition at Manchester. And, of course, we're going to get started at 5, and then right after our game, you got Fitzgerald, another South Georgia team, playing a more northern Georgia team in Heard County. So it's kind of a South Georgia versus North Georgia type rivalry thing we got going on. So the facilities up at Mercer are just fantastic. The kids had a lot of fun last year, and I think the people there, our fans and even local people interested in high school football had a great time last year. A little warm. We avoided the rain, which is good this time of year, and we're prepared for it to be warm again, and we're going to be on the other sideline. We're going to be on the sideline facing the sun most of the game, so we're trying to get prepared for that. We're trying to get our kids, talk to them about hydration and the things we need to do to make sure that we're prepared for the heat and humidity up there on the turf.
What are you looking for out of Manchester this year? I know last year it was new experience playing them. Are we looking for the same offense, a little bit different?
Well, Manchester has a whole new coaching staff, and so they've installed a new offensive philosophy, defensive philosophy. Coach Hostetler is the head coach there now. We played against his father, who was at Bowden back in the I believe early 90s, maybe 92. I believe we played up there, but. The offense that you're going to see is a wing tee. It's well coached. They're getting better at it. I'm sure every day in practice they get a little better at what they're doing, and I know they're continually installing more of the wing tee package. So we're preparing for what we see on film, plus we're preparing for what we know is coming next in the wing tee installation. So that's been our focus last week and this week. And defensively, they're an even front team, but they do some different things, and we've got to prepare for that. They've got several good players. I think on the offensive line, a guy that stands out for them is their center, number 51. Of course, their left tackle's just a mountain of a guy, but the center, number 51, I think just does a great job for them. Their quarterback, I think, does a good job getting the ball where it's supposed to go. They have a lot of skill at the wing back positions, and of course, number 11, a 6'3" wide receiver, scored on us last year, and he's also a good football player. On defense, inside linebacker, number 22, and then playing defensive back, number 11, the same guy we talked about. They have a lot of players. They have a lot of kids that can really run, nice size to them, and again, they're coming along, they're getting better, and the jump that teams usually make between their scrimmage and your first game is probably the most improvement that you see throughout the course of the year is those 2 weeks before the scrimmage, from the scrimmage to the first game. So we know that they're going to be better. We hope we're going to be better. So we're looking for a good game. It's for real. It's time to strap it up and play games that count now.
Yeah. Last year it seemed like conditioning toward the end of the game appeared to show a little bit, and with us being used to the South Georgia weather and all, it seemed to wear on Manchester a little bit last year.
Well, I think it's hot everywhere in the state of Georgia right now. So I know it's been hot in Manchester, but maybe it's a little hotter here. We work out in the heat. Our locker room, our weight room is unfortunately our weight room is not air conditioned, and we work out in the heat there all summer long, and then all this time of the year. So I think that benefits us. Plus our practice tempo, we try to keep things always moving in practice. We take the water breaks, but other than that, we continually try to keep everybody moving. And, generally our kids are usually in pretty good shape. I hope that's the case this year. We've had some kids battling some injuries and coming back from some injuries, and I know their conditioning may not be what it needs to be, so I'm concerned with that. We also try to play as many kids one way as we can. I think that's always helped us play in the offensive line and defensive line just one way. Yeah. That enables the big guys to always have a break between series. Skilled guys, we have some skilled guys that'll be going both ways. Of course, the freshman, we had a great game last week. Raekwon Anderson, he's going both ways. A.J. Bell. He's going both ways. So guys like that are going to have to really really concentrate on their hydration all week long. It's not Friday and Saturday, but all week long they have to get their rest, get their food, and get their hydration. And that's we're concerned with that. But again, our ability to play more kids in a course of a game really seems to help us.
Yeah. And you talk about the kids going both ways. Last Friday night, a week ago against Pierce, a lot of the younger kids going both ways.
We had a lot of guys out there. We played a lot of people in the scrimmage, though, but still, Raekwon going both ways, never left the field. Plus, he's on special teams, kick return, punt return. And then A.J. Bill also starting at free safety, which you have to do a lot of running at free safety. You got to cover the whole field, and then he goes and turnarounds and plays wide receiver, which is a position that you have to run all the time there. So those are the two guys that really, in my mind, that have to really work the hardest. Those may be the only two guys I can think of that we know won't leave the field much at all. A.J. will leave the field on special teams, but Raekwon won't leave the field hardly. I think he's on every special team we got, so Raekwon's a guy that we'll see him before the game, and we won't see him again till halftime because he stays out there. But again, if we can the more depth we can develop, the more kids we can play, the better off we're going to be, especially early in the season with the heat always being a factor this time of year.
All right, Coach, I see you've got the roster right there. Do you have some young men you wanted to highlight this evening? Or?
Well, we talked a little bit last week about Mookie Smith. He broke his tibia, broke his leg. He had surgery on that, and of course he's out for the year. We've had kids in the past break the same bone and be out 6 weeks and come back. A couple years ago, Drake Gillis broke the same bone in his leg, came back for the playoffs, and actually played well in the playoffs. Last spring we had Matthew Sands break the same bone, and really he was just out for 6 weeks, and then he came back and was able to pick up where he left off. But Mookie's was a little bit more of a severe break, not a real clean break. So he required surgery, and Summit Sports Medicine, give a shout out to those guys. They do a great job for us. They did the surgery, and so he'll be out for the year. That's going to be a huge blow for us because we felt like we played with 3 men on the defensive line. We'd like to go 4 men at times on the defensive line, and us getting Toby Dasher back from a year ago from his ACL, we felt great about that. But then again, his condition isn't where it needs to be. But having Mookie, we felt really good. We had a little rotation going, but then losing him in the scrimmage was huge. Now we're looking at guys like Matthew Sands, who we talked about, who's a linebacker. We moved him down the defensive line, and he's a 180-pound kid. A lot of our guys are a little bit bigger now in the D-line, anywhere from 250 up to almost 300 there. But he's a little lighter, but he's more athletic. He moves well. So he's going to be getting some playing time there. Also, Lance Carter, a freshman. Lance is a very strong guy as a freshman. I think 14, 15-year-old kid. He bench presses 260, and he's a strong, muscular kid. And we're getting him coming along to have to play down on the defensive line also. All those guys you're going to see Friday night. Of course, Tion's our steady guy at defensive end, and also Omar Lewis at the other defensive line position. So we're needing to have some guys step up for Mookie. It's a tough break for him, tough break for us. So again, we're needing those guys to step up and fill the void.
Coach, talk about special teams. You got Tomcat, and then are we still punting by committee, or what are we doing there?
We've got a lot of kids working on punting. We even had a new kid today work on it. Jamie Shellman, a sophomore, he gave it a shot. He looked as bad as the rest of them, so now he's in the group. We're struggling punting the football. We really are, and we're working on it. And not only that, as bad as our punting has been, our long snapping hasn't been great either. We gave up a touchdown long snapping during the scrimmage against Pierce. At Tomcat has a little bit of a pulled muscle, so we've not let him kick all this week for the most part this week. He's getting treatment. He's doing the stretching that's been prescribed to him. So, but I think Tomcat will be fine. I think it's maybe just a little bit more overuse. All he does is kick, and I think sometimes he probably just does a little bit too much of it during the week, during the practice. So we've cut him down this week. then we're having to look for somebody to do some kickoffs. So our special teams right now is nowhere we need them to be. I think in the past we've done a good job on special teams. It's helped us win football games. Right now our special teams is really not where it needs to be. I think what we need to do is back up and maybe spend a little bit more time with them. It's been one of those things we've been addressing at the end of practice when the kids are exhausted and their focus turns to getting in the field house and getting home. I think what you'll see probably tomorrow and throughout this week, us probably moving our special team periods to the beginning of practice to give them a little bit more emphasis, a little bit more time that they deserve. But again, we're concerned with our punting game. A little bit concerned with Tomcat and his pulled muscle, but I think that's going to be okay. And our long snapping. Now our return game looks pretty good. Yeah. We have Eric Daniels and Raekwon Anderson, who we've been talking a lot about. We feel good about our return game. So punt returns, kick returns have been really good. Defending the extra point in the past, we've been really good at that. We've blocked a lot of extra points. Hopefully we can keep that going. So we got to be able to. We have to get better at punting the football. If we do that, I'll feel better about the special teams.
Hopefully we just keep scoring and I won't have to worry about the punting.
That would be great. And it's really an emphasis on the offense to have good field position always. We've got to get good field position. That helps that out. It makes it even where we feel comfortable going for it. We tend to be a little bit more aggressive than some other teams. We will onside kick, as you know, quite a bit. We will fake punts quite a bit. And we will go for it on fourth down a lot. So if we can get in favorable field position going forward on fourth down with our defense playing well, at least it has during the scrimmage, then that's really another option to us.
Coach, Manchester, I know you have film from last year. Have they played anything this year yet? Did they open Friday?
They were open Friday like us, but they did have a scrimmage against Harris County. Harris County is a little bit bigger school. Harris County's a real multiple offensively. We saw them run some wing tee power, and we have seen them play some spread looks. Harris County is a team that also has good speed and also has good athletes. It was a pretty good scrimmage for them. I think they got a lot out of it. So both of us are sitting kind of in the same place. Played at a bigger school, played pretty well. Now we're just waiting to see what comes out of these scrimmages, Manchester and us. So it's going to be, again, kind of like last year. We don't know a lot about them because we don't play any common opponents. We haven't played any common opponents. So, again, it's a team that we need to, it's a big game for us because of the points. We'll talk more about the points throughout the year, but big game because of the points. It's a game that we feel like is a must-win because of that.
All right, Coach. Last year, going into the Manchester game, we were, I don't know what the word would be, I guess experimenting with the wing tee a little bit. And then we played the Pierce and went away from the wing tee, went back to the spreads. Everybody around here loves the spread with the Charlton County. You think that affected the game plan for Manchester, switching up like that right before?
I think it did. Last year we were all summer long, in spring and summer, we were working with what we call the hybrid wing tee. It's the wing tee, but splash or spread in it and so forth. Anyway, we felt like it was something that could fit our talent at the time, and we worked hard on it. Like I said, all through spring and all through summer, lined up against Pierce County a year ago with it, and it just didn't work. There's reasons why it didn't work. It got exposed. So now, right after that, we had 2 weeks. We got rid of it and went back to what we know. And what we know is the spread option, and throwing the ball when we want and that sort of thing. So we got back to what we knew, and carried that on throughout this offseason. So right now, offensively, I feel good about our package. Again, we talked about the offensive line earlier on, and our offensive line didn't do too bad against Pierce, but our offensive line still has to continue to grow and get better, and I think they will. Receivers don't have a lot of depth there, but we had some guys do a good job. We talked about Raekwon. We talked about A.J. Bell. and those guys had good games catching the football. So we feel good about our offensive package right now.
All right, Coach. Coach, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back, and we'll talk about our senior spotlight and golf tournament and get some other things coming up.
Okay.
We'll be right back after this message. Back to the Coach Mack Show. Coach, we have our senior spotlight. I believe it's Andrew Chesser.
Andrew Chesser, also known as Petey around here. Andrew is a real program kid, been in through the junior high level, all the way through the high school level. He's an offensive lineman who, through the weight room and through constant work, has been someone who has developed into a good offensive lineman. He's the only offensive lineman we have returning from a year ago. So Andrew is. He had knee surgery in the off-season, had his meniscus worked on. Dr. Greg Smith did that, and of course he's back and doing fine. And I know that his little brother Tyler Chesser is one of our freshman quarterbacks. So and of course we appreciate the family. His grandparents Joe and Donnie Chesser do so much to help the quarterback club and do so much for these kids. And if we can just I'm going to thank God we have them, because we need more people like that. We need more people willing to come up and do what they can for the kids. And I really appreciate what Joe and Donnie do for the kids. And again, Andrew's a guy that does a great job in the classroom. He's a great kid around school. He's one of those guys that's he's a team leader. And we wanted to talk about him. Those offensive linemen haven't been talked about real well lately, but he is a bright spot on the offensive line. He is the one guy we know we can count on every day on the offensive line, and he's the guy that we need to lead that group to get better each and every week.
And we just, I know you probably spoke about it, my hearing, everybody knows my hearing's shot now, but we just recently got Andrew back.
That's right. Andrew was, again, he missed all the winter workouts, a lot of the winter workouts with knee surgery, missed spring football. He was out there, but he couldn't participate in spring football because of his knee surgery. And then really July is when he got going again. But then he had a little bit of a setback once practice started, and it turned out to be, thank goodness, nothing. So he's full speed now. Everything seems to be good for him, and hopefully he continues on and has a great year, senior year, which I'm sure he will. And again, we appreciate guys like that, and that's what you got to have, especially on the offensive line. You got to have guys that just come into the program, and a lot of those offensive line guys, they come in, they're just not strong enough to compete yet, but they stick with it, and they get stronger in the strength program, and then, when it comes time, they're ready to go, and that's exactly what Pete has done. He's just gotten better each and every year, and now he's one of those guys that we're glad we have and we couldn't do without.
Congratulations, Andrew Chesser, our senior spotlight. Do you want to, I know you've told it a few times in the quarterback club meetings about the program cover from last year. And Andrew, if you want to share that story?
Yeah, last year's program cover was a really nice one. We took it at Chester Island Homestead, and we took it, and it turned out great, and I was real pleased with how it turned out, and some of you may remember. But then I realized, I said, it'd been good if after it was too late, I realized we could have saved it for this year, because Andrew's grandparents, they were raised out there. That was their place, and all that, and it's all named after them. So I thought that would have been appropriate for this last year, but it didn't work out. I forgot about it and all that. So, but anyway, hopefully this year's cover is going to be good. We're going to that'll be out first home game, which will be September the 4th, right here at home against Santa Fe out of the Gainesville, Florida area. Yeah. And our game night programs are just fantastic. Sherry Lloyd, Marcy Turner are the big two who do all the work on it, really, and take a lot of. Sherry takes a lot of the pictures. Marcy does a lot of the selling of ads, and And again, Sherry Lloyd, she puts it all together and we send it off. I think it's already been sent off. And then this year, hopefully it's going to be just as good as it always has been. So the Santa Fe game, come prepared to buy this year's program. It's the best program in the state, I promise. It has all the history of Charlton County football, talks about former players, and it's really it's well worth the price. I believe it's $5, but again, it's really well worth it. And hopefully everybody will get theirs a week from this Friday whenever Santa Fe comes to town.
It's amazing the connection some of these players and the kids, the families have with the history of Charlton County. I mean, it goes all the way back to the founding.
It really does, and and also coaching. I've been here long enough where now I'm coaching second generation kids. I have players in this locker room that I coach their dads. So I don't know if I'll be around long enough for a third generation kid. I may be, who knows. But I've had a lot of second generation players come through here, which has been a lot of fun. And I have one guy now that he wears, and several of them wear the same numbers that their dad wore. And it happens all the time. I'll see them out there, and I'll call them by their dad's first name all the time. And it's not to be funny or anything. It's just it comes to me. I mean, wearing the same jersey, built the same way, and I blurt it out a lot of times. But it's a lot of fun to have to see the history and see the kids and grow up in the program, and then now have the second generation kids come through here.
Coach, move on. Congratulations to Andrew, obviously, and to his family for the senior spotlight. Moving on, you had a big fundraising, the annual quarterback club golf tournament this past Saturday. How did that go?
Well, we've had the golf tournament nearly every year. There was a period of time where the golf course was shut down and we didn't. But I don't know, we've probably maybe had 20 of them. I lost track. I wish I knew for sure, because then we could call it the whatever annual. But the quarterback glove golf tournament has been really a great fundraiser and a lot of fun for us throughout the years. Robert Bryant's a former player of ours. Robert is also one of the former quarterback club scholarship winners, and Robert does the PA now and still involved in the program. Robert really runs that thing for us. We wouldn't have the quarterback club tournament if it wasn't for Robert Bryant. I really appreciate it. And not to fail to mention, of course, his wife, Courtney Bryant, who does a lot the day of. But Robert really, he heads that thing up, does a great job with it. We appreciate the golf course out here, letting us use the course. And it's really a nice fundraiser. Not only that, it's really just a one-day thing. Other than Robert works hard on it for several weeks, but other than that, a lot of us other guys, we just show up and enjoy the day, and it's a good fundraiser. We had that and had a great turnout, and also had some my first quarterback I ever had named Jason Coley, 1990, my first year as head coach. Jason Coley was my quarterback. He was on the winning team this year for the golf tournament. So Jason Coley, Matthew Coleman, he's from Folkestone here. He lives over in, I believe, St. Simons now, and he was a former athlete at Charlton County. So a couple of former Charlton County athletes was able to win that thing, and I felt good to see that. And, of course, it was always great to see guys like Jason Coley, my first quarterback I ever had, played for a state championship with him, and other former players out there during the day. It's a great day. I'm fortunate I didn't have to play this year. Yeah. I was able just to relax and watch other people play and visit with people. And again, big thank you to Robert Bryant and Courtney Bryant for heading that thing up, because without them, we just wouldn't have it. And without them, we wouldn't have had this nice fundraiser for us. So again, thanks to them, and thanks to all who came out and played in it.
How long, and you may have spoke to this, but how long have y'all been doing the golf tournament? I know Tammy and I have lived here for 12 years. Further back than that?
Well, yeah, it's I believe in the early 1992 or 3 or somewhere in there was probably the first one. And again, like I said, we did it nearly every year except for the years that the golf course has been shut down a couple times. And I don't know, we may have done it maybe 20 times, but it's always a good time and a lot of fun. And we had the golf course, the tournament was full again. You can only have as many teams as you have golf carts. And so we filled that up again, and I know we'll probably fill it up next year. And a lot of door prizes. I think like Mark Gant at Gant's Hardware, he donated a door prize to us. Coca-Cola gives us things. I believe out of Waycross we had the Olive Garden gave us quite a few prizes. Another guy that really works hard on it is Coach Jack Thomas. Coach Thomas, he's our junior high head football coach. Our junior high team's 1-0, and Coach Thomas gets a lot of people in Waycross to make donations to the golf tournament. So again, Jack Thomas is another one. Coach Thomas does a great job getting door prizes for us. So we appreciate all those guys do.
Coach, let's move on now from the golf tournament. Is our low maintenance award and our senior spotlight the same one this week?
I think Andrew Chester would fit into the low maintenance award also. He's a guy that I don't have to worry about. There's some people in this locker room, some guys in here. You look around at the nameplates and on here, and there are some of them you have to worry about every day, day and night. But Andrew Chester's not one of them. Of course, you know, the credit don't go to Andrew. The credit goes to his family, his parents. That's really where Joseph and Kara, great parents, and really, I've always been a guy, I've always told people, and I've always been one of these guys who really give a lot of credit to parents when their kids turn out well, because so often parents are the key to these kids, how they develop, how they turn out. And again, Andrew Chester's a great example of that. Great parents, great grandparents, great family, and of course he's turned out great. So again, real credit goes to the parents and the grandparents more than Andrew. But yeah, he's one of those low maintenance guys.
All right, Coach. The Charlton Sportsnet and the high school got together with Dr. Howard a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you're aware of this or not. We've started an academic achievement award every week for outstanding. Doesn't have to be an athlete, just any student in school. And one of your ball players is our inaugural outstanding academic athlete of the week, or student of the week, Isaac Gillis.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I think Isaac's I think he is a 4.0 student. Isaac's another one of the guys on the senior poster. It's hard to believe Isaac is a senior. You know, Isaac's, I think, all on the roster. I'm looking at it. He's all of 5'7", 135 pounds, maybe. But Isaac's also the leader of our FCA. It's an Fellowship of Christian Athletes. It's a great organization. I know your son, AJ, is very involved in FCA, and I'm sure he'll be a leader of it in the future. And Isaac's the leader of that. He's a great student. He's a guy that, at the end of every practice, I ask a player who wants to lead the team in prayer before we leave today. And Isaac always volunteers. Of course, his dad's a preacher. I don't know if he feels like he has to or not, but that's not it at all. But again, Isaac's another product of great parents, great mom and dad. His brother Drake's out here with us now. His brother Drake wants to become a coach one day and a high school teacher. So he's taking classes through Coastal. So he's taking his extra time and being around us. He doesn't really coach, but he's just being around, learning how we do things, and he's taking time looking at film with us and learning a lot. So you really got to credit him for, he knows what he wants to do, and he knows he wants to learn it, and so he's here. But Isaac, when you said that, I could have guessed right away it was Isaac Gillis, because what an incredible young man Isaac is, and great student. And Isaac's going to be one of those guys that's going to do something great with his life. I know he's going to be very successful. He's going to be a great husband to some girl. He's going to be a great father one day, and he's going to be a leader in his community. So another guy that he also does a nice job at wide receiver. He's our starting wide receiver. We call him, he's our X receiver. We call him the X position. And he does, he catches the ball well, but he does a great job blocking. And that's all effort. He gives us a great effort. And congratulations to Isaac. And again, that was probably a no-brainer. That was an easy one for Dr. Howard. Yeah. So that would have been easy. Now he needs to find the next guy. It's probably going to get tougher and tougher. But in my mind, I'm already thinking of your next guys. I can just about predict who the next ones will be.
The other award, where there were two, Coach Dr. Howard sent him, was Mary Baxter. Not a football player, a softball player, and she's been on the baseball field too.
Well, she could be a football player if she wasn't playing softball. Probably she's that tough. Again, she's a coach's daughter. Mike Baxter, he used to be one of my assistant coaches, one of the best coaches I ever had. Now he's one of the best softball coaches you're going to find anywhere in the country. He's really got the softball girls going. I think they were undefeated till this weekend. They lost one to Cairo, a big school. Great football team. He's done great things with the facilities over there. Yeah, Mary is another one. I think she's already taken college classes. I think Drake might be taking college classes already also. But Mary's going to be she's going to be a girl again. She's going to be an incredible success. And again, all of her success again starts with parents, and I really believe that. I've been at this thing for 28 years now, and you can really see the kids who really have a great shot at a great future. A lot of it starts, not always, but a lot of times it starts with great parents and parents who really take the time to help their kids develop and get them on the right track. But again, Mary's a great one to have, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she was also voted Miss Chilifoha, I believe, and Isaac was also voted Mr. CCHS. But again, that was an easy one for Dr. Howard. Now he needs to come up with one a little harder after that. But those two were easy to have for first ones. Both of them incredible kids.
Those academic awards, by the way, I'm sure you already know this, but their vote are settled on by the faculty and Dr. Howard. They just sent him to CSN, so that's how that's determined by their grades and their conduct in the classroom and so forth.
You ain't gonna get any better than those two.
All right, Coach, as we close out, Mercer, I have directions posted on the website on how to get there. Kickoff is at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. You may see other places where they talk 5:30 and 6. It's at 5 o'clock, same as it was last year, and Mercer's very easy to get to. I think you put it on your website, but it's as easy as going to Waycross, take a left, go to Tifton, take a right, get on I-75, and you don't get off I-75. You stay on it. You don't go on the bypass. You stay on it, and one of the first couple exits, it's well marked, Mercer University. As soon as you exit to the right, you'll see the stadium over there. And when you get to the stadium, I think both teams have to sit on the home side. You'll be more in the shade on the home side, and Mercer just wants everybody on the home side. That's why it's easier to clean up for them, I believe. And then you'll be staring at us the whole time. We'll be over in the sun just about the whole game, and we're making preparations for that. And it's going to be a big day for us that Saturday. We think we're organized. We're going to have the kids get here at 9 o'clock. We're going to feed them breakfast, and we're accepting any donations for breakfast. We'd like to get some help for that. But again, if anybody wants to help us feed our kids breakfast, I'll just get a hold of me, and I'll let you know how you can do that. We're going to have breakfast here at the field house at 9. We're going to watch a little bit of film, go through film one more time before we get on the road, pack everything. And then we're going to get on the road by 10 o'clock, and we're going to stop in Tifton to feed them their pregame meal, and ride on up to Mercer and start our pregame about 4 o'clock and kickoffs at 5, and hopefully things go well.
Last year it seemed as though, I just caught you mentioning that the home side and the visitor side. It seemed like last year everybody was sitting on the interstate side of the stadium, but they're opening up both sides this year?
No, this year they're saying they're having everybody on the same side, and that makes it easier for the Mercer people to clean up. They just have to clean up one side. Plus the sun. You'll have your back to the sun. You'll be in the shade more on that side. So you probably wouldn't want to sit on the visitor side anyway over with us, because you're going to be facing the sunlight nearly most of the game. So everybody will be sitting on the same side, and hopefully everybody will be there and make a lot of noise, and we'll be able to hear you and see you over there, and hopefully we'll have a great game.
Coach, any fundraisers, anything going on?
Well, junior high got off to a good start. They played in a jamboree, did well. Then we came home, played St. Mary's Middle, I believe it was, beat them in a high-scoring game of 6-0, I think it was. But we won and had a couple touchdowns called back. I believe our middle school will not play again until September 17th, so they have a big break in there. Our B-team season, middle school will play again on the 22nd, August 22nd, which would be tomorrow. Is that right? I think Tuesday tomorrow they play at Bacon County. I think that's right, unless it's wrong. There's been some mistakes with our schedule this year, but I think they play there. B team will play on September the 3rd. That's a week from this Thursday. That game was originally scheduled at Brantley County. Brantley County has some conflict, and they're going to come here, which we're happy about that. So September the 3rd, Brantley County B team football here on our field in the swamp at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, that's a week from this Thursday, and we'll talk more about that next week, I'm sure.
All right, Coach. I appreciate it as usual. We'll see you on that road trip. I want everybody, obviously, to go to Mercer, watch the game up there, support the team in person. If you can't make the game, we are carrying the game live on charltonsportsnet.com through the NFHS network.
Okay.
And the link will be on the website. Thanks for watching.